The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Welcome into the latest edition of Crossed Flags. I'm Steve West, and just arriving just in time is Matt Nicholson. We just got off of greatest weekend in motorsports, if you will, talking, Formula One in the morning. When you think about the greatest day in motorsports, they ran at Monaco. Man, they got some work to do at Monaco. There's no doubt about it. And I don't know whether it's the course or whether it's the cars. They might just be too big for that course. We'll talk about that this weekend. Then you go to the Indy 500, and we heard, obviously, the penalties from Team Penske beforehand. Afterward, a couple of disqualifications. We'll talk about that on Saturday, I should say, on the big show as well. But what we want to concentrate on is what happened on Saturday evening and what will happen this coming weekend not this coming weekend, they're going to Nashville, but coming up soon as they get ready to go to Mexico City. There's a questionable move maybe on the part of NASCAR, so we'll talk about that in a moment. But you and I, Matt, are involved in a little group on the internet, specifically social media, Facebook. And let's just say that they're not happy with what Fox has been doing, either on IndyCar or on NASCAR for that matter.
Yeah.
Kind of give an overview of exactly what they believe the problem is.
Well, quite honestly, it's the overall, for lack of a better term, it's the overall quality of the broadcast.
Okay.
Because the quality of the broadcast for really all the way around with Fox Sports this year so far from the NASCAR side has been, how do I say it? It's been lackluster.
Yeah.
There's kind of been really no booth energy. You got the two analysts that are going head to head with each other, butting heads with each other half the time. And then you got the veteran presence of Mike Joy that really can't even get a word in edgewise half the time either. And from the production level of the camera shots not being where they should be, picking up on action where it needs to be, taking commercial breaks seems like every 15 minutes. And you maybe sometimes seeing at best 20 lap runs at some point, what it seems.
Mm-hmm.
It's been lackluster.
Okay.
And in some cases of it, what they're saying, I agree with some points of it.
And having seen some of those comments, I can agree with some points. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment because there is a difference, because a lot of people, and you and I were both included in this, we lauded what Amazon Prime did on Sunday night with the Coca-Cola 600. They do seem to have an enthusiasm for it. They did put a heck of a lot of effort into it. They didn't have as many commercial breaks, but I can argue on that one because Amazon Prime isn't a network. They're a streaming service. They are not beholden to local affiliates. And because Fox is a network and they are beholden to local affiliates, that does add to the number of commercial breaks that the Fox network. And when we get off of Amazon Prime and go to TBS TNT and we go to NBC, they're also subject to. And you say, well, wait a minute, TBS TNT isn't a network. Yes, but they are a cable network, which means that they do have cable local avails. So it is very similar. So the number of commercials is going to go back up. And I hate to say it that way, but you're going to have to strap in and get yourself prepared for that. It is going to happen.
But where they at Prime excelled, in my opinion, even when they did have their, let's call them the network commercials. Let's just call it that. Even
and
when
I know where you're going with this.
When they did have them, you had a split screen and you did not miss.
Kind of like what you and I are doing right now.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you and I are doing right now. And I agree. That is something that I think if you are in the network break, I think that Fox, NBC, and TBS TNT They all need to do that. We have seen over the course of time, when it comes to broadcasting any kind of sports, different things that have come about, and all the other networks grabbed onto it and said, yeah, we need to do that. When Fox picked up the NFL back in the early days of that network, and it actually put them on the legitimate standard along with ABC, NBC, and CBS, they put that scoreboard up in the upper left-hand corner or somewhere in the upper part of the screen. And now that's common. Everybody that runs an NFL game, everybody that runs a college football game, everybody that runs a Major League Baseball game, NBA, NHL, whatever sport that it is, you see the score at the top or the very bottom of the screen. I think what Amazon Prime might be able to hang their hat on, most especially now, is that this might set the new precedent of saying every single network break that they do, any network, and any race series, obviously not Formula One, because Formula One, at least at this point in time, we don't have any commercial breaks within the race. But if you're talking Indycar, if you're talking NASCAR, whatever the series might be, I think maybe Amazon Prime might set the precedent that the other networks will have to follow. They'll almost be forced to. And is one of the good things about that.
Yeah, because they've shown that it can be done, and that there's no excuse that it can't be done.
Agreed wholeheartedly. There used to be a time, and I will say this partially because this is a main criticism of mine, and it can be a criticism of Fox. I'll admit to this, but at the same point in time, it's a criticism of NASCAR, because NASCAR allowed IndyCar to and Fox to just roll over them like a steamroller. And you and I have talked about it. They had 14 Cup Series races this year before they turned it over to Amazon Prime, and only 4 of them were on Fox. And in thinking about that morality, the morale of the team, if you feel like you were put in the back seat by your bosses, and I honestly feel like these guys, Mike Joy especially, I mean, you think about his long time in the broadcasting business, both on radio and on television, and if he feels like he's being disrespected, which I think he is, I think that Fox is disrespecting NASCAR in a lot of ways on this. I think it does have an effect on the morale of everybody involved in the production, and I get the whole Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick thing. That's another thing entirely. But for Mike Joy, for all the camera people, all the production people, I think it has to have an effect on them. They feel like that they've been shoved into the back seat or way back almost into the trunk on this particular car of Fox race broadcasting.
And honestly, it's showing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but truthfully and honestly, it's showing.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the sad part about it, because I really, really like Mike Joy. I like Kevin Harvick. I think he does a great job. He's multi-talented. Not only is he a good analyst, but he actually is pretty good at calling races. We saw that during the annual drivers broadcast that they used.
He was, and it was a pleasant surprise, because I was expecting either Brent Stover or Eric Brennan.
Yeah.
Kevin Harvick was the lead guy for the truck race Friday night at Charlotte. And if I'm going to grade him, I give him, it wasn't perfect, but it's a solid A-.
Sure. Clint Boyer can be very entertaining.
Too much.
But the problem is that, and I'll say this about my favorite guy of all time. I mean, you can see his cars up here at the top of this collection. I'm an avowed DW fan and loved him on the Fox broadcasts, but a little too much is way too much. And Clint Boyer doesn't know when he's crossed over that line. DW learned it.
He's borderline way too much.
Yeah, DW learned it over the course of time. Clint Boyer has not. And that is a problem, I agree. So it'll be interesting to see, because NBC is in much the same situation, because if you look at what they've done, 14 races that they've got wrapping up the season, and only 4 of them show up on NBC. All the rest are on USA. NASCAR is getting shafted. And it'll be interesting to see, to me, whether or not they have the same kind of attitude that the Fox crew does. I don't have any problem with what TNT TBS is going to do, because they're kind of like Amazon Prime. They're happy to be back in the fold, and they'll put everything towards it.
and in all essentialness, the Prime crew and the TNT crew is going to merge. It's basically going to be the same thing.
In a lot of ways, yeah. There's a lot of crossover.
In a lot of
between.
ways.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of crossover between them.
From the overall quality of the broadcast, from the analyst roles, I'll even admit, and I said it on these platforms of ours, I was a little skeptical with Adam Alexander being the lead guy.
Right.
He proved me wrong.
Yeah, I would agree.
He proved me wrong.
I would agree.
He carried the broadcast quite well. And the role where they, after stage 2, when they come down and did the car stopped on pit road and did the moment of silence, the role that Mike Joy had with that from years past, and Adam Alexander, he picked that role up admirably quite well.
Yep.
The pre-race and post-race, in my opinion, Carl Edwards was lights out.
Absolutely. You could tell he was enthusiastic, but
he was lights out.
While he let his enthusiasm show, he didn't go all fanboy.
He didn't. And Danielle picked up right where she left off when she used to be stuff like that. Danielle picked right up. Mm-hmm. I give Corey LaJoy, he did okay. He's a little rough around the edges, but he did okay. I give him B-.
Yep.
The one that pleasantly surprised me was Trevor Bayne.
Yeah.
Trevor did quite well.
I could agree with that. I think there were a couple of times when he was the one that was in charge of coming out of the medical center interviews.
Yes.
And I think he backed off on a convenient excuse of, well, we got so much background noise, I'm just going to let it go, instead of pressing ahead with a couple of questions that I might have asked, looking at it from a pure media standpoint.
Right.
But I would say he's pretty good. He's just got to get over that, hey, I'm part of the driver team. No, you're not. In this case, you're part of the media. Your job is to ask those hard questions, whether or not you like it or not.
And the one that I would say overall that has made a massive improvement from the broadcasting side of it, taking the role of the helmet with the headset, transitioning better than he's ever done, is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Agreed.
And I'll say one thing, and this is where CW Sports can take some notes, in my opinion. The picture quality with Prime was immaculate.
Yeah, I agree.
It was immaculate.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. I mean, Amazon Prime came out swinging. And what this tells me is that between the Christmas Day NFL games that they did last year and are going to do again this year, and I can't really call it a boxing match, the slapping exposition that was done between Mike Tyson and Jake what's-his-face. But the production value,
Jake Paul, yeah.
You know, I mean, I know that was on Netflix, but at the same point in time, what we're seeing out of the Amazon Primes and out of the Netflixes that are getting now into live sports is that they're willing to put everything into it because they understand they're behind an 8 ball here. We've seen ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, ESPN, TBS, TNT, all of these networks go out there and do it at a high level all these many years. And here comes the upstart, and there's always an upstart, but here comes the upstart streaming services. And they know that critics are going to be nitpicking on every single little thing that goes wrong. So these guys are going to put 110% of effort into this. And for Amazon Prime, like I said, for the NFL games that they did on Christmas Day last year and will again this year, and for their first Cup race especially, which this one is the marathon. It's the Coca-Cola 600. It is the longest race of the year. And they had everything running, and they did a proper pre-race show, like you were talking about with Danielle, Carl, and Corey. And they did a post-race show that covered everything. You didn't feel like that they were rushed to get out of there because, hey, we got to go to this next thing. And that's what you're going to see on the networks. Again, once we get back to TBS, TNT, and then NBC and USA, that's what's going to happen. They're going to want to get back on schedule. So for all of those people who are, with all due respect, complaining, I'm just going to say it right offhand. We try to keep this as kid friendly as possible because we don't know who's listening, but I'm going to put it out there flat out. If you're one of those people that's out there bitching, moaning, and complaining about the fact that Amazon Prime is something you can't get, that's on you. You made this decision. I made the decision at the first 14 races of the year to not go and sign up to stream Fox. I made that decision, and I found alternate ways to go do it. Here's your alternate way to go do it. If you do not have Amazon Prime at this point in time, you can sign up right now for a 30-day. Hear me now. Listen to me now. You can sign up right now for a 30-day free trial. Think about what 30 days is going to get you because they have the next 4 races over the next 4 weekends. Remember, we're done with off weekends in the Cup Series. So they only have 4 more weekends to go. How many days is that? Oh, less than 30. That means you can get in all the races that are left on Amazon Prime's docket, and you can get it for free. And all you got to do is mark when you have the free trial done and cancel it if you don't want Amazon Prime anymore. Now you have no excuse.
Bingo.
It's on you. You make the choice. If you don't want to do it, don't complain. You made the choice. Plain and simple. I like what Amazon Prime did. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I'm looking forward to seeing what TBS TNT can do now that we've seen that bar stepped up.
If they can translate it over, I think they'll be okay.
I think they will too. And I'll give CW's been a pretty good punching bag for us, but I'm going to give kudos to them on one factor. Because last Saturday on the big show, when we talked about how CW was covering the Xfinity Series race at Charlotte, we had noted that at that point in time, it appeared that they were going to be, up to that point, I should say, it appeared that they were going to be doing it by remote, which, what? They changed their mind. They actually did it live on location.
Well, considering that the lead production manager, lead producer for CW Sports is on our respective social media pages. He probably was listening. So,
let's hope so.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes. Fantastic job, Eric. 4 miles away? No, that's not a remote. Again, you want to talk about when they go to Sonoma, when they go to Portland, when they go west of the Mississippi River, you want to go remote then? By all means.
When they go to Mexico.
Yeah, by all means. Do it by remote. That's fine. We understand that. But if they're east of the Mississippi, I'm sorry, you don't have an excuse.
Yep.
You really don't. Well, you mentioned Mexico City. And since we're talking the Xfinity Series, let's go ahead and make that transition right now, shall we? Early this year, you and I kind of wondered why NASCAR was going to go change the rules to allow one Helio Castroneves to get into the Daytona 500. Well, they're doubling down on it. But this time around, it affects the Xfinity Series in Mexico City. What is NASCAR decided now?
I think it's a little bit more than doubling down. I think they're tripling down, honestly.
Okay.
They well, just as a disclaimer, first off to start, the owners exempt the OEP provisional for Cup has not been applied for this race. So we will not have an OEP car.
Nope. Got to do that. What is it? 90 days beforehand?
90 days.
So yeah, we haven't heard of anything, so it doesn't look like it will be.
All right. So
they better not throw one last second, by the way, curveball on that.
Yeah, this is straight from the technical bulletin that is printed off. All right. NASCAR has added the following language to the entry blank for the race at Mexico City's Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez to allow for an additional 2 entries to the starting field if necessary.
If necessary.
If necessary. Okay.
That's an interesting bit of wording right there.
I think they're probably expecting more than 38 cars, so that's probably why. But The race may include up to 2 additional entries for a maximum starting field of 40 entries based on qualifying results. The starting position eligibility of such additional entrants shall be in accordance with Section 7.9 of the rulebook. Here's the head scratcher.
Mm-hmm.
A team utilizing 39th or 40th starting position will not, let me repeat that, will not, November Oscar Tango, not. They will not be eligible for prize money associated with the event regardless of finishing position.
So they could win the race and they
And
would not
not
get
get a
the
dime.
winner's share.
Correct.
That's interesting.
They will not receive driver or owner point or team owner points for the race or stage finishing position. All other vehicles will be elevated and receive points accordingly. They will not receive credit for the win or any playoff benefits associated with the win. The second place vehicle will receive first place points but not receive the benefits associated with the win, including eligibility for the playoffs. They will not receive playoff points associated with a stage and or race win. The second place vehicle in the stage and or the race will not receive playoff points. Example, if a vehicle utilizing an additional starting position finishes third in the race, the vehicle that finishes fourth will receive third place driver and team owner points. The vehicle that finishes fifth will receive fourth place driver and team owner points, etc.
Right.
If the vehicle utilizing the additional starting position finishes third in this stage, the vehicle that finishes fourth will receive third place team and driver and team owner stage points.
Wow.
Same principle for fifth and fourth. So let me get this straight.
Okay.
And this is where common sense would step in. We're going to use this scenario here.
Mm-hmm.
If you were sending a car to Mexico City, I'm a road course ace. I want to put a car in the race. I'm on the entry list, which by now the entry lists are coming out and the rosters are being formed.
Sure.
If I'm a road course ace, and let's say the car is a level car of, let's say it's a Mike Harmon level car.
Okay.
All right. That level of a back marker style car.
Sure.
Right? I'm hired as a road course ace to come in. Let's say I've got the sponsorship of, I don't know. Let's say I'm an Under Armour athlete. I've got Under Armour's going to back me to go to Mexico City to run this race to get into the inaugural event. All right.
Okay.
Something happens in qualifying. There's 40 cars on the entry list. They ain't even 40. So that technicality, all 40 is going to make the race by technicality.
Right.
But my qualifying time only allows me to use the 39th or 40th position provisional. Not the 39th or 40th provisional, the position provisional.
Right.
So Under Armour puts me in the race, puts me in the car. I go out there, we make some adjustments, we tweak on it, we work on it, and I'm absolutely flying through the field, and I come through and I pull a Ross Chastain in the 600 from worst to first. I win the race.
Okay.
How do you think it's going to feel when I tell Under Armour, hey, we won the race, but we ain't getting no money?
Yeah.
How do you think it's going to feel? And my car owner, Steve, the car owner, go, hey, we just won the race, but we just blew everything we had to get to Mexico City. We're not getting nothing out of it.
Yep. Because
what is the benefit of this to do this?
The travel from our home shop, and we'll just say it's in Charlotte, the travel from our home shop to Mexico City, I had to pay for out of my own wallet with a little bit of help from Under Armour because they gave us enough money to put the logo on the car.
Yeah.
But I don't get anything back out of it. And I have to foot the bill all the way back from Mexico City to Charlotte.
So I'm basically running an exhibition race.
Thanks, NASCAR.
This is somebody when the NASCAR on NBC, when they've shared this on their social media, I said this is kind of a defeated purpose, because if you're going to run for nothing, what is it benefiting your team? Some brainiac had to use the method of, well, Wendy's did it for Elio Castroneves for the Daytona 500 with the same thing. I said, genius. There's a little bit of a difference between Charlotte to Daytona from Charlotte to Mexico City. A huge
number
difference.
one, yeah. Number two is, and I really have to ask this question: is this really an intent on their part to see if they can't slide in a couple of local drivers from Mexico City?
If they're thinking they're going to slide in Pato O'Ward, they've lost their mind.
No, Pato O'Ward's not going to be the guy.
IndyCar's not IndyCar. Even though Zach Brown said, if you can find a competitive Xfinity car, you're clear to run it. He did say that.
And I'm sure of that. But at the same point in time, no, I don't think it's going to be an IndyCar driver that's going to be going down there. NASCAR Mexico Series driver?
I don't know of one.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know.
No, I get it. I know what you're saying. I don't know of one that could be legitimate to do that. Are you thinking you're going to do this to draw somebody the likes of Sergio Perez? Absolutely not.
No, you're not.
You think Sergio Perez is going to come jump in a car? Oh, I'm going to run it. Sorry, you're not going to get credit for the win, nor you're going to get the money.
No. And Sergio Perez is concentrating on whether or not he's going to get a ride next year, because, again, we keep hearing the rumors, and it's just a rumor. Don't throw anything at it except for what it is. It's a rumor, and they're throwing it up against the wall to see if it'll stick. But he's concentrated on getting an F1 ride, and he has been linked to Cadillac. So, no, I don't think he's worried at all about an Xfinity Series one-off race in Mexico City, regardless of whether or not that's his home country.
And with this, I mean, Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder could have seen this coming. Daniel Suarez is going to be doing the double. He's going to run for Junior Motorsports in the 9-car Xfinity. So
which means that he doesn't have to worry about the provisional.
He doesn't have to worry about the provisional there. He'll make the race safely.
Yeah. And Junior Motorsports will get points, and they'll get a part of the purse.
Is it somebody like Colleague there for the Chicago Street Race? They're going to fill the 13 car and put Will Brown in the 13 car. Okay? Australian supercars. Is somebody going to try to draw an Australian supercar driver to come run that race?
Mexico City? I don't think so.
I mean,
because now you got to foot the bill for the travel to get from Australia to Mexico City.
Yeah, probably Australia to Dallas, and Dallas jump down to Mexico City on layover.
And on top of that, you're footing the bill for the transport from your home base, which again is probably in Charlotte, down to Mexico City and back. No, I don't see that happening either. I'm not sure what NASCAR is doing here by eliminating. Okay, let me take this back. I understand what they're doing when it comes to eliminating stage points and or championship points. I get that. That whatever. Okay. Again, this is a one-off. Fine, eliminate the points. But eliminating the cash prize, that hurts. And I think that's going to be the part. Who the heck is going to take them up on that offer? I just don't see it.
Very few. Very, very, very few.
I don't see Junior Motorsports taking them up on this. I don't see Joe Gibbs taking them up on this. I seriously doubt RCR would take him up on this.
Junior Motorsports will be soundly in the race. All 5 cars will make the race soundly.
Yeah, I get that. But if you're footing the bill entirely for one team, are you really going to put it out there?
No.
No. And like I said, I don't see Joe Gibbs. I don't see RCR doing it. I don't see Hendrick doing anything. Are they slated to take the 17 down there initially?
I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to pull up the roster viewer.
I don't think they would have added it. Let's put it that way. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think Hendrick would add it if they weren't already committed to it. So that's the question. Are they committed?
Where are you? Here we go.
I'm trying to think of any team that would. And once you get past those teams, now you got a problem, because these are the lower teams on the rung that, yeah, they might be competitive. Think Jordan Anderson Racing, they can be competitive. Think Sam Hunt Racing, they can be competitive. but do they have the kind of money that's needed to foot the bill to go all the way down there and all the way back and not get anything out of it except for the glory of saying that you ran the car?
I think it'll be. No. Well, Sam Hunt might, because he's got Toyota's backing, and he's basically the de facto 2311 Xfinity car. He's basically the de facto 2311 Xfinity car.
So maybe he's going to Michael Jordan. Oh man,
I don't know. This just makes me want to beat my head through a cinder block wall. What would be the absolute purpose and the reasoning for anybody to take advantage and go, oh, we got a guaranteed starting spot. We're not going to get jack crap out of it, but we got a guaranteed starting spot. So let's load the car up and go.
Yeah, but you got to foot the bill for everything.
Yeah, you got to foot the bill for everything. You go, you make the races on you, buddy. That's stupid.
Yeah, because you got to pay for the tires, got to pay for the race fuel. That bill's going to the bills will pile up.
And the Chileno 150, which is the Xfinity race title, I just saw it on the roster list, and the Viva Mexico 250, which is going to be the Cup race.
Right.
Okay. All right. There's been no rosters officially submitted yet.
Okay.
So they'll probably within the next week or two. But I'm going to be interested to see who does what.
It's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. No doubt about it. We'll talk about it probably a little bit more this weekend on the big show. Plus, again, as we talked about, we'll talk about what happened over in Monaco and what maybe they can do to try to improve the racing in the coming years of this crown jewel race in Monaco. We'll talk about, of course, the Indy 500 and the aftermath of it and what might have happened to a couple of cars from one particular team in the fact that they unfortunately ended up with DQs. That and a whole lot more as we get ready to deal with yet another big show as NASCAR goes to Nashville, IndyCar is in Detroit, Formula One is now much more into their European leg, so we'll talk about all that. In fact, every single series that we cover on a regular basis is racing this coming weekend. You'll find out all about it on this week's big show. So make sure that you're tuned in. Make sure that you comment down below. Make sure that you like and subscribe down below, because we want to thank, obviously, our other hosts, the fine folks over at Jocks TV. We thank them for hosting us. Of course, you could do it on CRN Live on YouTube as well. We also want to thank our producers, producer Molly from the Jocks side of things, and of course, our very own producer John. Thank both of them. And on behalf of Matt Nicholson, I'm Steve West. Thank you for checking out this edition of Crossed Flags.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.